Okay, like it, we're okay out there on the land. Like to welcome everybody. Today is September 23rd, 2025. It is 9 a.m. And we're here for our regularly scheduled Commissioners Court meeting, our last one of our fiscal year. Uh, Welcome everybody. We see folks out in the audience. Uh, we do have a quorum present. If nobody's absent, so let's stand for our prayer pledge and we'll get started. Gracious and loving Father, as the season begins to shift, help us keep the flame of faith burning bright. Remind us to draw near to you, to build our relationship with intention and love. Teach us to be thankful, not only for blessings, but also for the turmoil, for we trust that all things unfold according to your perfect plan. Give us patience to wait on your timing, even when the path is unclear. And Lord, thank you for your light within us, a light that shines even in a world full of shadows. May we reflect your glory now and always. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Ms. Liao, do we have any citizens that have signed up to speak this morning?
Yes, Ms. Bai.
Ms. Bai?
Yes.
All right.
Good morning.
Morning.
Get it done, year 2. What have we gotten done this past year? Not the courthouse, not the jail, not the annex building because apparently the roof wasn't the issue, not the service centers for precinct 2 and 4. Started the records retention building and that's been at a standstill since mid-July, but the only explanation was politics and drawings. I think we need to know the real reasons on why it was stopped. We can't even decide on a burn ban. It had to be on the agenda twice to get passed. Common sense, gentlemen, tells you that it's dry out there. Took 3 tries to get the approval for Jeff Chapman to look over construction contracts. You have $18.2 million in capital outlay budget, and most of it's for new construction. Why would you not want an expert to look over contracts? And speaking of the budget, I don't know who was taking what out and adding stuff from the proposed budget to the final budget, but I'm glad Commissioner Beatrick has it on the agenda. And I think we need some explanation on how that got put in the final budget. 2 of the 4 commissioners I spoke to had no idea the county attorney added to her staff. It was never mentioned during the budget hearing. Sounds like Slim Shady and Sneaky Snake are back at it. Maybe next time don't approve the final budget 10 minutes after you get it. And I don't know who changed the budget format, but it stinks. Been here since 2007, I can't even read it. Is my budget for my personal services or personnel services? Again, looks like we are hiding something. Needs to go back to the way it was because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And finally, why do we have to argue over the littlest things? Nothing gets accomplished because y'all are too busy trying to show who's in charge. Well, I'll tell you who's in charge, the public. And the public will speak next year during election time if you keep going like this. My retirement countdown, 1 year, 3 months, and 7 days. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Others signed up to speak this morning? No others signed up to speak this morning. All right. Item number 6, discuss, approve, disapprove the resolution approving the building contractor for the home program. That is who we talked about last meeting. Was it okay. And that was the only one that we had. And that was the resolution.
Judge,
yes, sir.
if I may, I don't have the resolution in this packet. I printed one off the internet, but I just have a question. It says city council on it. I just want to make sure that it's right. Do we need to cross that out and change it?
Yes, we do. That needs to be Commissioner's Court, Karnes County, Texas. So the resolution of the Commissioners Court of Karnes County, Texas, authorizing, if we approve this, I guess action item, we need to approve this first to allow them to build.
I'll make a motion to approve, the resolution with the correction. Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Anybody opposed? None. Okay, a resolution of the Commissioners Court of Karnes County, Texas, that is correct on the resolution, authorizing approval of the building contractor award for the home program through the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs, whereas Karnes County advertised for bids in accordance with all state and federal procurement laws, whereas the bid opening for the home program was held September 9th, 2025 at 9:05 a.m., whereas 5 homes were included in the bid, whereas 1 bid was received by the county. Now therefore be it resolved by the Karnes County Commissioners Court of Karnes County, Texas. Karnes County awards the construction of 5 homes listed in the bid package to the lowest responsive total base bid of $836,000 to RM Quality Construction, passed and approved this 23rd day of September 2025.
Judge, if I may, I'd like to apologize to Ms. Michelle, because I do have this on the backside. I didn't look at it, so sorry about that.
Yes, sir. Okay, item number 10, discuss, approve, disapprove payout of overtime for all employees not to exceed $10,000 for all payouts. I know that that's probably changed a little bit. People have been using it.
Well, not a whole lot. The final number is $9,992.32. We did approve this previously, but I did want to come back to court to give a specific number, and we will pay that out this week.
What was the number again?
$9,992.32. And that includes the Social Security, retirement, whatever we're
Yes.
required to match.
Yeah.
I'll make the motion to approve item number 7 as presented.
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you. Okay, item number 8, discuss, approve, disapprove appointment of a primary and alternate representative for the Alamo Area Council of Government Regional Preparedness Advisory Committee. That's the REPAC. The primary is going to be our EMC, Justin Garcia, and the alternate, Scott Katara is our chief deputy in the sheriff's department. Casey is not here, don't see him, but this is pretty standard. Commissioner Dubnik served on that for a long time as the volunteer EMC, and so it just makes sense to have Justin on the REPAC and Scott to fill in as an alternate.
Make the motion to approve item number 8 as presented.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen, for volunteering. Item number 9, discuss, approve, disapprove, allowing for the immediate disposal of the items listed below. All of the listed items have 0 monetary value or use life remaining and do not qualify for declaration of surplus property. All of these things are from over at the old Road and Bridge Department, where we are building the new EMS training facility. Broken barrel style barricades, indeterminate quantity. Broken traditional style barricades, indeterminate quantity. Hardened bags of ready-mix concrete, indeterminate quantity. Old sign blanks, indeterminate quantity. White plastic drums, indeterminate quantity. Large tarp, unknown size. Old hard suction camlock hose. Casey again is not here. Casey and I talked about this. This is all items that are over at that Road and Bridge Department, old Road and Bridge Department that we're tearing down.
Judge, I talked with Casey and I agree that these items do need to be disposed of. He just wanted to bring it before court and make sure that it was done properly. So
Correct.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 9 as presented.
I'll second.
We've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Item number 10, discuss, approve, disapprove the amendment to the professional services agreement for Karnes County Courthouse restoration to add design phase and construction phase professional services as described from Exhibit A. Commissioner Lissy,
Well, this is the amended,
you need to turn your microphone on and talk to it.
this is the amended, AIA document that, was received from, the, architectural firm, and, it's for $480,000. And, to get this project going, we need to approve this, get the contract signed, and get it back to them.
Were they ever gonna come and give a, like a presentation, like a video presentation where we could all,
They did.
they did a video presentation?
They were here, they did a presentation, and they said this was approved, and all we needed to do was get it signed and get it back to them. Is that correct, Ms. Toppy?
If I recall, they gave a video presentation.
Oh, they didn't.
I don't know if they came to court and actually gave a video presentation, but as I recall that he was stating that they had made a video presentation or PowerPoint presentation that blew everybody else out of the water, if I recall correctly. I don't know, I have to go back to the court minutes to see if they actually came to Commissioner's Court to give a presentation.
I know they were here.
I've been on, I haven't missed a meeting that I'm aware of, and I don't remember a video presentation. But I would like to see one. I know others would like to see one too. I don't think this has anything to do with the item, but other than,
Well, I agree with Vi, we need to get this project going, and I'll make the motion to approve item, number 10 as presented.
Ms. Tapia, if I may. Ms. Tapia, have you looked at the amendment and on the contract or the agreement?
Yes, I reviewed the agreement, and the initial contract was for evaluation and design, and then this is a supplement to address the issues that were found when we came out and did the evaluation. So this is the amendment to that contract as well.
Okay, and everything looks fine on that?
So we're good for the next step.
Judge Mann?
yes, sir.
So I double checked back in our records, and on July 22nd, this group came and they were here. They did not present to the court. They had printouts that were available. I had got one from Renee myself, and I looked through it. And as a court, we did approve at the time the $480,000 fee. I think this is just paperwork to get that moving. So,
I'll second it.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Anybody opposed? None. Motion carried. Okay, item number 11, discuss, approve, disapprove to retain Attorney Jeff Chapman and the Chapman Law Firm as outside counsel for the purpose of construction-related contract review and negotiation, legal advice, risk assessment, and document preparation in an amount not to exceed $5,000. Commissioner Lissy?
Well, this is something that we talked about in court, and we, lowered the, amount to $5,000. I think that is something we desperately need for all the construction projects that we've got going. And Jeff has done us a good job in the past, and Jennifer, our county attorney, stated that she is not a board certified construction contract attorney, and it'd be good to have him to look at everything and check everything out for us, make sure that everything is done correctly.
For clarification, it wouldn't be to look at every single thing. It would just, I mean, there's general contract principles that are standard. but it's just certain specific items that I may not be particularly familiar with, or I just need someone to say, yes, your interpretation of that's correct, or you might look at this. So it's just basically to have a backup, I mean, which is not uncommon as attorneys. We call, other attorneys all the time to get input for stuff. So it's basically just to have another person to say, you're right on that, or maybe look at this. So it's not to send every single thing to him, have him look at every single thing, but it's just for stuff that I may not be familiar with.
Judge Mann.
Yes, sir.
So I have some general concerns just about hiring more outside lawyers, especially if our county attorney is looking to hire more staff. However, I do believe we have some immediate needs that need to be addressed. And for that reason, with this limited to the $5,000 without coming back to court, I would make a motion to approve agenda item 11 as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Anybody opposed? I'm opposed. I think that we've got $10,000 in there right now, and for the limited services that we need, I think that would suffice. Motion carries. Item number 12, discuss, approve, disapprove the recommendation by the KCRB engineer to award contracts to Ergon Asphalt and Emulsions Incorporated to supply bulk paving oil to Karnes County.
Good morning, Court.
Wayne.
These next four items are rebids for our materials. We extended the existing contract as far as we can. First one is goes to purchasing our paving oil, which we utilize to do our maintenance and in-house construction. We got some very good bids on it. The cost of our primer that we put down on the roads has been unchanged. So we held a flat line on that. We didn't see any increase in payment, but the rest of the items, the paving oil, different types of paving oils that we use, we saw a 5 to 7% reduction in the cost. So from the previous contract, we had two bidders on this project. One of them is Ergon, who has been historically, ever since I've been here and actually before, has always gotten our contract, the only people that deliver into the county. The other bidder that sent us in a bid, they did not quote the products that we utilize and specify. They actually changed the bid document significantly. We have the ability to buy that. They have a very good product. It's a niche product, but it does not it does not meet our specifications for what we specified. If we started mixing it, we have concerns that it would cause us some problems with the equipment that we mix in the products would cause some problems with our equipment. Plus, it would dramatically reduce the rates and change our rates in our construction process. So I basically decided that they were unresponsive bidder because of the way it changed the documents. And like I said, we can still procure them later on if we need to. But overall, it's a very good bid. We should see our paving oil prices go down. Very happy with it. Recommend that we award a contract to Ergon.
So I have a couple of questions on this.
Yes, sir.
So on the summary sheet, there are red asterisks. What are they for?
They're basically to refer you, if you look further down there, Commissioner, where it says P squared is proposed, I've got that highlighted. Those asterisks are meant to refer you down to that area where it talks about the fact that it's a proprietary product that they quoted, and it may or may not meet specifications. I know it doesn't, because it would be supplying it all over the state if it did.
Okay, it wasn't highlighted on mine. And on the tabulation sheet, there are no bids, yet on the summary sheet, there are actual numbers.
Right. I said that there were no bid. That's basically how I declared them a non-responsive bidder. So.
And then on the contract, did anything change? But you haven't had to redo a contract for 3 years?
No, sir. Fact is, the contracts have already been, for all these projects, the contracts are approved as part of the procurement document. I basically provide them I basically provide the contract to the contractor at the time that they're bidding. They have to sign it. The county attorney's already reviewed it, and I haven't changed it in years.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 12 as presented.
I'll second
Okay, a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Anybody opposed? None. Motion carries. Item number 13, discuss, approve, disapprove recommendation by KCRB Engineer to award contracts to CK Newberry, Colorado Materials, Brontex, and Vulcan to supply bulk paving materials to Karnes County. Wayne Giesler.
Yes, sir. This is this one had a little surprise for us. CK Newberry actually came in low for all of our paving rock. And I don't know if you guys got a chance to read. I highlighted the fact that, I mean, they're our local company. We already utilize them in our construction, but they've actually purchased a rock plant so that they can produce hot mix that's located here in town. And their prices for material were higher than everybody else's, but their delivery charges are much lower. So the net impact of that is we're seeing, with the exception of our grade 4 rock, we're seeing cost reductions in between roughly, if you round up, 5 and 10% for almost all of our paving rock. The only exception to that is our grade 4, which is, we use that heavily on our maintenance overlays, and that had an increase in cost of 6.3%. But we are recommending we go ahead and award multiple contracts here because one of the CK Newberry, one of the Colorado Materials, Brontex, and Vulcan, because at peak paving seasons, we can overload these folks. And this gives us, in addition to go ahead and give us some protection against paving season spikes in the need for demand, it also gives us the ability to test out CK Newberry and make sure that their new operation is going to be sustainable over time, because it is a startup. It's new. It can go away. They get their rock from a lot of the people up the country. So there's some risk involved with what they're doing to them, not to us. But in the meantime, as long as they're producing this material, as long as they're producing it timely, we're getting a really good deal compared to what we've done in the past. We get another price break here.
I have a question on,
Yes, sir.
when you say the peak paving time, is that the county employees are paving, or is that all the subcontractors? I don't.
The paving rock, we procure that on our contract projects. We procure that through the contractor, but this is going to these materials we're talking about goes to our in-house construction and maintenance overlays. So that's primarily what this contract is used to supply. So my recommendation is to award contracts to CK Newberry, Colorado Materials, Brontex, and Vulcan.
Make a motion to approve item 13 on the recommendation.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Anybody opposed? None. Motion carries. Item number 14, discuss, approve, disapprove recommendation by KCRB Engineer to award contracts to Colorado Materials, LTD, CEMEX Construction Materials South, LLC, and CK Newberry, LLC, to supply bulk road materials to Karnes County. Wayne and Tom.
Okay, this one has to do with the supply of our limestone base materials that we use. This one, Judge, to your question, we do supply the base materials for all the construction we do. Our contractors just install it, and that represents a significant savings. In fact, our best price came from Colorado Materials. They beat their past contract by $1 a ton. We use about 150 tons a year, so it's pretty simple math. And what we're doing with CMEX, we have had a problem. I mean, CMEX 3 years ago missed the deadline for bidding, and they've been looking to get back in. They were the second low bidder. Their price is slightly higher, but the reason I'm recommending we go ahead and put them in is because at peak paving season, when we've got 3 and 4, 5 road projects going at once, we can stress their trucking abilities. Both CMEX and Colorado are out of the Braunfels. The Braunfels area, they have extensive trucking resources, and this opens up both of those so we don't have any delays to our contractors when we're building our roads. CK Newberry did not bid on any of the limestone materials, but they did bid on the what we call grade 57 rock, which we use as underlayment for our culverts across the the in-house and the contractors, and they also provide us another resource for large aggregates. So that's the reason we actually included them on this recommendation.
When you say we as the county, we supply all materials, that's from base to asphalt?
No, this is a limestone materials at
Okay.
this point.
Okay.
And so we supply all the limestone materials. That's the most costly, heavy volume. It would cost us a lot of money if we were, I've actually got a price for the contractors to supply it. It would cost us a lot of money if we didn't supply it.
Okay, great.
I'll make the motion to approve item number 14 as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Anybody opposed? None. Motion carries. Item number 15, discuss, approve, disapprove recommendation by KCRB Engineer to award a contract to Dynasty Enterprises LLC to supply bulk fuel to the county. Wayne and Tom.
This is our term contract we use to supply bulk fuel to all our facilities. Tom and I have recently had some discussions. The fact is all of these contracts, if you wanted to buy, if anybody else in the county wanted to buy rock or paving oil, they can buy all. But in here, that's particularly important because while this is something that we actually bid, it's a countywide contract with all the generators going in. This is a set price that we can actually, everybody can leverage off of it. And so this year, we actually are going to see a 7-cent per gallon reduction in the markup that we pay from the last contract. Both Great Lakes Petroleum and Dynasty have supplied us, filled this contract before. Dynasty really wanted it this year. They gave us prices that I haven't seen since I came here to start with, and it's a very good opportunity for all. We had very good bidders too, but the bottom line is Dynasty won it. They're local. They're excited about getting the contract back, and it should result in a significant savings to the county. And regardless of who we got it, don't forget, guys, that any of these emergency generators that we're buying and putting in place, this contract can be utilized for all of that.
I'll make a motion to approve agenda item 15 as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Anybody opposed? None. Motion carries. Item number
Judge,
6.
real quick, I'd like to just say thanks for Tom for helping me with the tabulation. It's always a pleasure to work with him. It was a good process, so thank you.
Item number 16, discuss, approve, disapprove, update Karnes County purchasing policy adopted 4/30/21 due to new laws effective 9/1/2025. Tom Dupnick and Jennifer Tapia.
All right, good morning, Court. As a lot of us know, the bidding requirements have changed from $50,000 to $100,000 the 1st of September. So on page 5 of the procurement policy that was adopted in April 2021, that change was made. The other change that was made it actually wasn't changed, just to remind everyone. It says that all the bids are to be opened in Commissioner's Court by the county auditor, and that's on page 6. And the last item is the delivery of the bids, which we left that out on the procurement policy originally. So all the bids, and some of them are coming to my office, should come to my office for the sake of us being independent to the county. So that's the only 3 changes that were made in the policy. Everything else is the same. There is an item y'all adopted right after we adopted this policy. It was an emergency purchases. The judge and I are supposed to be aware of any emergency purchases that are supposed to be made, and a purchase order can be made within 3 days, I believe.
So what you're saying is the amount increased from 50,000 to 100,000?
Yes, sir. That went in the legislature this year, 1st of September.
And
So
then
the bids are not required for anything under $100,000, but we still, encourage it, to get bids, but it's not required by law.
Okay, and then all bids, did it come to your office or the judge's
Yeah.
office? Or-
Yes, sir. Well, that was inadvertently left out of the, we were getting some of them, like Road and Bridge would give us theirs, but yeah, that was added into this policy. Yes, sir. Let's see, I believe that's on page 7, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see, all proposals will be, item B, number 2, all proposals and bids will be delivered to the county auditor's office. And then I will open the competitive bidding during Commissioner's Court whenever the items come up to be bid on. Is there anything else you want to add?
The third one,
Or I highlighted them. Delivery of the bids and then open them in public in Commissioner's Court. Let's see, who's on this one? Jennifer. The county auditor will open all formal bids during Commissioner's Court on a date and time designated in the documents for the procurement.
Where is that at on the document?
That's on page 6, item D, second paragraph. I believe it's in there. I don't believe that's a change. It just, we really hasn't been done.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
And that gives the public an opportunity to, when bids are open. Right.
I'm sorry, I'm a little slow this morning, so, okay, 50 to 100,000, and then all bids come to the auditor's office. And then the third one is the county auditor will open all formal bids during Commissioner's Court.
Yes, sir.
And those are changes, those 3 are changes, and they come from?
Current statutory updates as of legislative updates as of September 1st, and then the other ones, I believe, were just left out or
Right.
clarified, that we decide the statute from where that authority comes from in the policy.
Throughout Texas.
Yes, that's pursuant to local government code, and it's cited in the policy.
I'm sorry, we can't hear. It came from the state legislature.
The change in the $50,000 to the $100,000 did come as a legislative update this year. And then the other things were clarification that are pursuant to local government code. And it is stated in the policy which area of the local government code, which statute that applies. Just clarifications that were added.
Commissioner Beatrice.
Yes. As far as the change of opening bids here in Commissioner's Court, I like that change. I think that'd be good for all of us and transparency for the community. There's one change that wasn't made in the old policy. The computer technology, all purchases will be funded from the budget line of the individual county departments. I believe we moved all the funds to IT, am I correct? So is that something we need to readjust in this policy?
What
page?
What page?
There's no page numbers on mine, I apologize, but it's
Mine
under
either.
chapter C, number C, letter number 2, computer technology purchases.
Page 9,
About what page number is it?
page, oh,
I don't have page numbers, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm just trying to count.
Like the bid from the.
yes, your Commissioner Beatrice, you are correct. Right.
Yes, ma'am, right here. Anyway,
Jimmy,
that,
everything is coming out of your budget now, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that can be corrected. Right.
Court, I know this policy's been established since 2021, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of things in here that
Yeah.
have changed. One thing that I don't see in there was a procurement process through construction manager at risk, and I think that's something you and I had previously discussed, Tom. And I just wonder if it might be good that a committee be established to reevaluate the purchasing policy for the entire county. That way, maybe we can get department heads together, find out what works for them, what doesn't work, find solutions, and build a policy that works great for our entire county.
So Commissioner, I was wondering if, with this extra change here and what you just mentioned, because of the sake, I don't want to limit departments to have to go, thinking they still have to go out for bid for items under 100. I would recommend that y'all adopt, and then I can bring it back to the next court and make the change, what you just spoke about on the IT as well. It's up to you all.
Sounds logical to me.
Judge, Mr. Keyser has a question.
Sir?
Commissioner Beatrice, to your question about the construction manager risk, that is addressed by reference in the policy to Government Code 2269.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's all that is laid out in the Government Code, and to repeat it would be, open us up potentially for errors. The only other thing I would, and I'm happy to do whatever you guys want to do, but the IDIQ contracts that I bid have up to 250 items. And if you start opening those, and with I typically get 4 contractors bidding on those, and you read off unit prices, you do that for 4 contractors in court, that creates a lot of time, and for a very boring commissioner's court, frankly. And that's the reason whenever I get them, what I do with my procurements is I declare the public location to open them. I make that part of the document, and I call that out to the contractors, so we basically declare the Karnes County Road and Bridge courtroom the public venue. And that satisfies that. And by doing that, it would allow me to go ahead, do my tabulation, because if once you open the contracts, you're still going to have somebody tabulate them. That's just going to give you an apparent low bidder, and in my case with the IDIQ, it just gives you a list of 250 items that make no sense. So I would suggest, if you're going to go back and rework that, we look, at least sit down, and I would sit down and let's have a conversation, and then y'all can decide how you want to do it. I'm happy to do it any way you want. Well, we have to make a recommendation.
Right.
So I would just caution you, because you can get into reading a whole lot of items that don't make any sense to anybody. And I hate whenever I put the contracts that I have to put in there, the judge has to read all of them. So just putting that out there for information.
As our part of our job as the court is to do those things, and I don't have a problem with being transparent to the taxpayer to do those things.
Well, what I'm saying, Judge, is what we've been doing is transparent, it is within the legal guidelines. You just have hired an engineer to open them with the auditor, evaluate them, and then come and with factual information. That's all it is. There's nothing wrong with the current process.
Make the motion to approve item number 16 as presented with the 3 changes.
I'll second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising their right hand. Anybody opposed? I'm opposed. I think that Commissioner Beatrice had a good idea. I think that there's some things that ought to be looked at a little closer with input from some other elected officials and department heads. Motion carries 4-1. Item number 17 on our agenda this morning, discuss, approve, disapprove fiscal year 25 budget amendments. Tom Dupnick.
Yes, Judge, so this is something we do at the end of the year to true up the budget. So we have very limited budget amendments this year. I'm very pleased to say all of the departments have been working within the constraints of what court has awarded them. So the first 3 pages, I believe, is the general fund changes. The only significant one that, because on judicial, we never know what the true costs are going to be, is so on and so forth. So, the non-departmental owner special counsel fees, we moved some items out, and then we had sales tax we had to pay back to the state and so forth. So that, where we were bringing money in out of Department 500. So if you look at down these line items, these are the true up from the best, that numbers I have right now. I did visit with the Sheriff's Department and EMS, and they agreed to the numbers in road and bridge as well. I do want to comment, because a comment was made earlier about doing the budget based on category and opposed to line items. I did concur with our outside auditor before making that recommendation for court when the budget was adopted. Meaning is, if we can do it by category, then items can be moved around within that category. If we do it concurrently, as we're doing, technically you can't be over line item on one line item. You'd have to stop that expenditure. So that was the purpose of why they recommended to do it by category, as some other counties do as well. So that's on the general fund. So that is actually budget item 2025-15. The next budget line item or budget amendment is 2025-16. That's for our special revenue funds, which is like district court collection fees, sheriff's department, like Leo's fees and so forth. So you can see on the very bottom of that line item, or the budget amendment, the blue items just mean those are funds they've had in reserves to use to spend on this year's budget. So it's not a true budget amendment, it's just the reserve monies are there to pay for those items. The next one is on road and bridge, which I mentioned. I visited with Mr. Geisler on that, went over all these items. The very first line item, workers' comp, that was just inadvertently omitted out of the budget. That's the reason we had to fund that line item, and I will take ownership of that. And then, liability insurance, some of those items, are more expensive than what we had anticipated in the appraisal district. They just charge us based on their budget. And then on the very last one, that is actually the revenue. That's just, the library. Health insurance was a little bit more on this one line item for Department 651, which is Falls City, and then it's just a matter of moving those items within the constraints of what they do have overall. But I am pleased, like I said, that we've had a lot less budget amendments this year, and everyone is working within the constraints of their budgets, and nothing out of the norm that I see. Or
Tom, you mentioned in workers' compensation for road and bridge that was an oversight. That was one of my questions, and I understand the liability insurance was also one that surprised me. It was $27,574. What?
And I would have to go back and research that. That might have been left off the original budget as well. I'm not sure why, but he did have money to fund these items to cover these changes.
I'll make the motion to approve item number 17 as presented.
I will second.
Hey, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Anybody opposed? None. Motion carries. Item number 18, discuss, approve, disapprove interlocal agreement between Alamo Regional Transit and Karnes County for fiscal year 2025. Commissioner Beatrick?
Yes, sir. In May of this year, Art came to Commissioner's Court and we approved an expenditure of $56,317 as a prorated fee to fund the ART buses and the public transportation for Karnes County. They've been running the buses since before that, since probably March. And after our budget hearing, we went to set them up as a vendor in our system and realized that they hadn't sent us this information. So this document is essentially an agreement between Karnes County and ART saying that they will provide these services and this is how much it's going to cost. And it has to be signed so that they can send us a bill for the services they've already provided. If anyone had any other questions, I could answer them. If not, I'll make a motion to approve agenda item 18.
I'll second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Anybody opposed to it? None. Item number 19, discuss, approve, disapprove fiscal year 2025-2026 budget amendment, moving line items 100-475-1030, assistant county attorney, 100-475-1039, victim services intern, and 100-475-1060, legal media assistant, from general fund 100 into grant fund 750, contingent upon awarding of SB 22 funds from the state. Commissioner Beatrick, sorry.
Yes, sir. So I had a phone call that asked, you know you are funding another assistant county attorney? And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. And they said, well, it's in the final budget. And I went back and looked at my proposed budget. My proposed budget did not have any additional positions for the county attorney's office, but in the final budget, 3 positions had been added to it. Being as the judge is the budget officer, I went to him and I said, Judge, what do you know about this? And he had said he'd learned the same morning of what had happened, and he'd been in communication with the county attorney and our auditor through emails. A summary of what I was told was that the judge applied for Senate Bill 22, and that if these positions were, if Senate Bill was 22 did grant us these funds, that needed to be budgeted for in our budget. And so if the county attorney wants to hire 3 additional positions using Senate Bill 22 funds, I'm okay with that. But the problem I had was that these budgeted positions were actually put in her departmental expenses. And if they stay there, the county attorney could hire these 3 new positions as of October 1st. And so I am not in favor of increasing the budget to fund these 3 positions unless we get a grant to do so. So my intention here was to move those positions funding to a grant fund so that funding them is contingent upon receiving SB 22 funds.
Court, may I address court?
Yes.
Judge, may I address court? So a couple items here. I received an email late Monday. I requested before our public hearing from the judge's office that he did apply for Senate Bill 22. Tuesday afternoon after court, I scrambled with the county attorney and with the sheriff's office to come up with budgets to present to you guys that night. Senate Bill 22 revenue is shown under Fund 196, but if you look at the general fund, it shows that revenue being brought into the general fund to fund those positions. So it didn't cost the general fund anything. It came out of that money there. And it shows on the very bottom of the line, Fund 196, transfer to general fund. So that money came into Fund 196, went into the general fund, so it didn't increase. The other item is, when you had these items on here, you needed to include the fringe benefits, because that's all part of the whole package, including the revenue to fund that, to move it to a different fund. Because right now you have it listed with the expenses going out, but no revenue to pay for those expenses. So now I would encourage anyone in court or any department head, please get with me and the judge on budget stuff so that it is correct.
It was known to the county auditor and the county attorney's office that I would be applying again for Senate Bill 22 funds, and it was not the last day before the budget. I spoke to both of you about that. I agree with Commissioner Beatrick. The way that this is set up now is, it's just like Commissioner Beatrick said, it is in that Fund 100-475 to hire this person, and it is not contingent on whether or not we get these grant funds. She can go out and she can hire these people, funded or unfunded, from Senate Bill 22, the way that it is now, because you have it funded in there for $85,000 for that second assistant.
So so Judge, you're stating that if a line item states a position, it's automatically they have to be hired?
I'm
So
saying that you have put that money in there without the court's knowledge of that.
I did mention about Senate Bill 22 money that night that I had to put
It was,
into.
this was not included in the proposed budget that was filed.
Correct, because you told me Monday before court. That's when the money, you applied for it, and that's when I reached out to the county.
Because
attorney.
there's a certain timeline when we can apply for it. Do you understand that? Do you understand? It opened up like in August for me to apply. It's not, I couldn't apply for it in June, July, March, April. I couldn't do that. It was known that I was gonna do that. The problem with this is it is funded right now. It is not
Correct.
contingent on Senate Bill 22 funds coming in. It is not.
But the revenue's also in the general fund to fund that. And if we don't get the revenue, you don't hire the positions. That's how any grant funded position is, like we have a juvenile. Those people are not guaranteed a job unless the money's coming from the state.
Judge, may I?
You may.
I reached out to TAC just for clarification, and they did acknowledge that if it's in the budget as it is now, that this department would be able to hire a position regardless of whether we receive the grant funds or not. I would hope that they wouldn't, but there'd be no control from the court at least that would prevent that. And this is the only way that I am aware of that we can ensure that those positions are not created unless the funds are available. And I have no recollection, I apologize, but I have no recollection of discussing this matter in the budget hearing. You know, we talked about all the other items. I talked about the ARC bus, we talked about the district attorney's compensation, but I don't recall anything to do with Senate Bill 22 or the auditor, the attorney's office during those meetings. That's why it was a surprise to me.
But also Fund 750 doesn't exist in where you have your agenda item. We don't have any Fund 750. Oh, they're in the 700, but there's no 750. So we have to create a new fund as well. Right now, it's Fund 196 for Senate Bill 22.
Is there any?
Oh, I'm sorry, Fund 196 is the Senate Bill 22 monies. That's where those monies reside and expenses come out of. Okay, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that, I mean, those positions are not, if we don't get the funds, I'm not going to create those positions or anything. I'm not going to go out and seek employment for filling those positions or anything. It's all contingent on the funds, if we receive them or not. And I apologize, Judge, but I don't recall having any conversations with you about you applying for SB 22 funds. I didn't find out until Tom notified me that you had applied for those. So, I mean, we had discussed previously that I was going to fund 2 years prior my victim services coordinator position because that grant was running out. And we had to initially return those monies back to the state because that grant had not run out yet. And then when we didn't get it the second year, the county had to fund that position. I can't go back and reuse those Senate SB 22 funds for that because that would be supplanting that position, and that's not allowed under SB 22.
Right.
So the intent was basically to, if we get these funds, that we were going to use them, and I'm very limited on what I can use them for. I can either create, you know, another assistant county attorney position, an investigator position, or victim services, or another, you know, clerk position in the office. I can increase those salaries as well too, but I can't do that because we're on the STEP program,
Right.
and that's going to mess all that up. So I didn't want to have to, you know, miss out on these funds again and send them back. And you know, if we can create these positions, if we get funded, I would have to still come back to Commissioner's Court to get approval for those positions once we get funded. It's not a guarantee. As far as the auditing, the accounting stuff, as far as what funds they go under, that's not my expertise. Leave that to Tom. But that was the intent for that. It was not to, you know, do anything else. And like I said, that night at the public hearing, I do recall Tom stating that we had SB 22 funds coming in and that those positions were added to it. But I tried to look for the recording of that, but I don't think that was recorded. I couldn't find anything.
Why did we not get Senate Bill 22 money the second year?
I'm not too sure. I think the judge in there.
Absolutely. I am so glad that you asked, Commissioner Lissy. Whenever I went to apply for the Senate Bill 22 funds the second time after we had sent all the money back the first time for the county attorney's office, I was in the process of applying for those and supplying the reports for the previous year that we had gotten them. And Tom and I sat down, we were putting all that together. Jimmy helped me out a whole lot. And I got an email from our district attorney, and it said, hey, congratulations, y'all are funded for Senate Bill 20, or y'all have the opportunity to apply for Senate Bill 22 funds again coming up for this fiscal year. And I said, great. So I didn't pay any attention to it. I was putting everything in, sending reports back, and I go the next week to apply for the Senate Bill 22 funds and for this current year. And I don't see that there's an opportunity, grant funding opportunity on the comptrollers. And so I look, and so I call the comptroller's office and I said, hey, Heather, I'm not seeing where I can apply. And she said, what county are you in? And I said, Karnes County. And she said, what's your fiscal year? And I said, our fiscal year is October 1. And she was like, look back right now. And so I looked back, well, whenever Audrey, who is our district attorney's office runs on a different fiscal year. They're a January 1 fiscal year. And so 100%, I have owned this, that is my fault. I completely mixed up the DA's budget fiscal year with our budget fiscal year. So I've not tried to blame that on anybody. I've not tried to hide that from anybody. To commissioners, new commissioner that came in, new sheriff came in. I sat down, I talked with them before they were even taking office, and I said, look, I screwed that up. I don't have any excuse for it other than I missed that. I sent the email that I got from Audrey to the comptroller's office, and I said, Heather, look, it's an honest mistake. I just mixed up these two dates. And she said, I understand, however, there's nothing we can do. I reached out to my state representative, Ryan Guillen. His office worked on it. He said, Judge, we're sorry, there's nothing that we can do. I reached out to my congresswoman, and I said, Congresswoman De La Cruz, is there anything that we can do to try to get these funds back? And she said, Judge, I'll try. And so she tried. There was nothing that she could do. I reached out to Senator Zaffarini, who is a personal friend of mine, and she is in the Senate, and she is the dean of the Senate. And I said, Senator Zaffarini, is there anything that we can do? This is a Senate Bill 22 fund. You are a senator. You are the dean of the Senate. She said, Judge, I'll reach out, and I'll talk to the comptroller's office. And the comptroller's office came back and said, sorry, Dean Zaffarini, there's nothing you can do. My fault. I know that that's been a talking point for some folks out there, and I'm glad that I finally got the opportunity to explain that to the public. And anybody that has questions about that or wants to see the emails, I am happy to supply those to you. So thank you, Commissioner Lissy, for bringing that up.
How much did that cost the taxpayers money by not getting that Senate Bill 22?
How much did it cost the taxpayers' money?
Yeah, how much did it all cost our taxpayers? How much money did we not get by not applying for it?
$175,000 for the county's attorney's office, and so $350 for SO?
Yes, sir.
However, I don't know that cost the taxpayer. That was monies that.
That was money that we didn't get. How much was the total, Tom?
Total cost as far as what?
Total Senate Bill 22
Yeah,
money
the
that we
what
did
Judge
not
said,
get.
525.
$525,000.
Yes, sir.
So that cost us $525,000.
I don't believe that it cost us $525,000.
We didn't get it.
We can, if you want to have an argument about this after, I'm happy to do that, but I'm not going to sit up here and argue in court.
I just wanted to be transparent about it.
I'm being very transparent. We've had to send the money back. We received the money. We had to send the money back with interest. We are currently being audited for the money that was spent in the previous sheriff office administration. We're previously being audited for that because we may not have spent that right. I don't know that we're going to get these funds again if we send them back unused and we spend them the wrong way. Who's to say that the state's going to even give that money back? Same thing with the CTIP grant. That's why the CTIP went away, is because there were other counties that didn't spend that money and they sent it back. And so the state says, if you're not going to spend it, or if you're going to spend it wrong, why should we continue to give it to you? But thank you for bringing that up, Commissioner. I know you've been wanting to do that for a while. But back to the agenda item,
Just wanted the taxpayers to know.
back to agenda item number 19, fiscal year 2025 budget amendment moving line items. I agree with Commissioner Beatrick. I think that they need to be moved into a separate fund that way it states specifically, because right now it doesn't state anywhere that, and I'm not saying Mrs. Tapia would go out and do that. I'm not saying that she would go and just go hire these 3 positions. I don't believe that she would. However, the way that it is in the budget currently proposed to be that it is in the budget, those positions are there and they're funded, and it doesn't specify that they're only funded through, that it's contingent on grant funding. It does not say that. And that way this would take it to, those positions are contingent on us getting the funds again. So I agree with Commissioner Beatrick.
So just so I'm clear, what is the issue with moving the funds there? What does it do from a auditor standpoint?
Okay, well, I'm sorry, Commissioner, repeat.
If we move these funds from where they're currently at
Yes, sir.
to
Both the
this,
expenses and the revenue. Right now, the revenue is not addressed in this. You're only addressing the expenses. Because the revenue is sitting as a second line item in the general fund that says transfer in from 196, Fund 196. So that has to be moved as well, plus the benefits. Otherwise, it's a lopsided amendment. So if you look at the current budget, it shows transfer in from Fund 196, which is the second line item, $175,000 right underneath our ad valorem taxes. That's revenue coming in to pay those expenses. So that would have to be moved back to that other Fund 196, along with those line items that y'all are discussing, and the benefits. So yeah, so on the current budget, it's the second line item. It says under revenue, transfer in, and then your expenses, offset, which is no.
Jennifer, on this item number 19, as it's presented right now, it's presented just for the expenses, not the benefits. Can we make a motion on it and go ahead and amend it and put the benefits in there to be moved too? Or do we have to come back to another commissioner's court with a new line item?
I think you have to come back with a new line item to do it correctly, and then the other issue is that technically, I'd have to check the TAC. Once the budget's adopted, you can't really make changes unless it's an emergency.
I believe Commissioner Beatrick did check with TAC.
Okay.
I called TAC and they said it is,
Yeah.
you can make the adjustment, and it does not depend if you are in the fiscal year yet or not. It could be made ahead of time.
Okay, well, I mean, if they say that that's fine, then I think we just need to come back and do the proper, with all the
fringe
and everything.
And the revenue.
In the revenue, so it's properly
And then it'd be in
reflected.
Fund 196, as Judge mentioned.
Yes.
And next year we won't scramble it, you're trying to get all this.
And we can do that, Jennifer, we can do that on our next commissioner's court, or do we do it in 3 days, by Friday or something? Do we put,
We can do it the next commissioners.
It'll be fine.
Oh, because we start the.
Right, fiscal year
That's right.
starts.
because we still got, we're Tuesday, we can still do it on Friday, we have to have a special meeting.
I can have a special meeting and,
Yeah.
and we can meet that timeline specific to this.
Yeah.
And we can have a short
Yeah, but
meeting.
Then we can end it.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so item number 19 was good discussion, I believe. Thank you, Commissioner Beatrick, for bringing that up. It was brought to my attention that morning as well, and I was pretty dumbfounded. So we will take no action on item 19. We'll get a special meeting set up to address this with the contingent, with the fringe and everything. Item number 20, our consent agenda. We have reports from our Justice of the Peaces, all of them, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have our district clerk, we have our IT department, we have our EMS, we have our maintenance department, our sheriff's department, our constable precinct 1, our constable precinct 3, and our TXDMV We also have our budget amendments 2025, 15, 16, 17, and 18 that Tom talked about earlier. I can pull those and read those off to y'all. Okay, those four budget amendments that Tom talked about, I'll just give y'all some numbers to go along with those. The first one was the all spec reserve grant funds. That in the multi-department, that amount was $33,295.68. On Road and Bridge for 2025-17 budget amendment, that's out of Fund 200. That amount was $68,419.27. 2025-18 was the Library Fund 250, and that was the $2,661.86. Library.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Item number 21, discuss any items from the consent agenda to be considered and acted on. Hearing none, we will move to item number 22, updates from our commissioners, starting in precinct 1.
After our budget meeting on the 9th, I had a resident talk to me about the buses from Alamo Regional Transit. I was told that a passenger was required to pay a fare for their ride, which should not be happening. This public transportation service is funded by TxDOT, Karnes County, and local municipalities. At this time, the fare fees have been suspended, and you should not be charged for utilizing these services. I talked with Art, and we hope that this was a mistake on the part of a driver that was temporarily filling in for Karnes County route. All the buses have time-stamped cameras, and so if this has happened to you, please let us know so we can investigate further. While we were focused on the ART buses, we realized that even though the court approved funding the public transportation project back in May, Alamo Regional had not set up as a vendor in our county. So I worked with Art and the auditor's office to get the paperwork needed and a copy of the interlocal agreement as needed that needed to be signed. I met with residents that were having trouble with contractors for Aspen and BTX1. In Kennedy, we had several utilities that were damaged, along with crews that were working outside of the right-of-way, operating with insufficient traffic control, and conducting themselves unprofessionally when communicating with the public. I met with BTX1 and Aspen about these problems, and they have committed to resolving the issues. Few contractors have been removed from the project, and the companies are conducting weekly meetings with the municipalities to improve the working relationship. I worked on preparations for the October 25th public auction at the Sheriff's Office. Alamo Auctioneers has opened pre-bidding on their website where you can register to bid ahead of time. If you can't be there on the morning of the auction, it will be live streamed and you can bid online through the auctioneer's website. I met with a resident who has been having troubles that come from an abandoned house on a neighboring property. With the help of Purdue and Brandon, I researched ownership of that property and reached out to the property owner so that the home could be boarded up and secured. Last night I attended TCEQ's public meeting on Conoco's proposal to close the Conquista facility. It took a few days to get through today's agenda and the 29-page bill list. I met with department heads to get several of my questions answered before today's meeting. Contractors have finished the drainage projects on County Road 159 and are preparing to overlay both County Roads 159 and County Road 160 with the goal of completing by the end of this month. Repairs have been made to County Road 160 west of 72 and to the bridge approaches on County Road 171. I'd like to thank everyone who came out to the Lonesome Dove Fest Bingo fundraiser. I believe the event was a success and will allow us to continue our scholarship and community outreach programs. This Saturday, Karnes County Resource Connection will host a community resource and health fair at the Karnes County Youth Show Barn. The event starts at 8 a.m. with a free color run. The next Karnes County Food Bank distribution will be Monday, October 6th at the Youth Showgrounds. On October 7th, the Kennedy Police Department will host National Night Out at the Joe Gully Park at 6 p.m. They'll have free food, canine demonstrations, bounce houses, and more. Our local fire departments are looking for volunteers and will be hosting a countywide recruitment day on October 11th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Karnes County Training Field in Karnes City. They will have live burn demonstrations, door prizes, and lunch will be provided. Also on October 11th, the San Antonio River Authority will have a free hazardous waste disposal event at the Karnes County Youth Showgrounds from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. They will be accepting hazardous household waste, used tires, used electronics, and pharmaceutical waste. This event will be for Karnes County residents. Please, no businesses.
What was the date of that hazardous waste again?
I'm sorry, for which thing?
The hazardous waste.
October 11th.
Thank you. October 11th. Thank you, Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
All right, Commissioner Precinct 2.
First of all, I'd like to thank all of our employees again. Thank you for all the good and hard work that you do. County Road 254 has received its final course of rock oil. The road is complete. County Road 253 has received all material and is complete. County Road 218, pipe has been delivered and drainage improvements are underway. County Road 219 has been issued a contract with Reyes Brothers and will begin as soon as County Road 218 concludes. Attended the West Texas Conference this last week to add to my continuing education hours. I've been in contact with Representative Ryan Ginn's office and TxDOT about the FM 791 project and also about the Conoco project. Attended the public meeting last night in Falls City concerning Conoco moving radioactive material from DeWitt County to Karnes County. And I expressed my disapproval of the project and also stated that if this project is approved by TCEQ, that the truck routes stay on state highways as much as possible. Also asked questions that were asked by my constituents in Precinct 2. And God bless America.
All right, Commissioner Rosales, Precinct 3.
Morning. Morning. County Road 360, 400 under construction. County Road 289 is in the final phases with the design team. County Road 278, 279, 280, 281, all drainage and second course overlay has been completed. County Road 302 is in the designing steps for a rehab maintenance project. Met with several elected and appointed officials regarding county issues in the last couple of weeks. That's all.
All right, Commissioner Precinct 4.
County Road 331 South, they're getting riprap installed and almost ready for the tight plating. County 331 North, they're waiting for concrete floors. There has been some rain out there and it's delayed the project a little bit. County Roads 111, 112, and 113 are ready to be overlaid. They're waiting on the rock from the contractor. I also attended the Fall West Texas Convention, satisfied my continuing education. Visited with several folks on the burn ban, had quite a few questions on the process of going out and getting, if they wanted to burn, how to go out and get the permit, pass that on to them. I met with Casey Ebram, Chief of EMS at site of the Precinct 4 EMS station, and we discussed the layout. Also in attendance was Derek, his second in command. I've also contacted the architect for the service center and started negotiations on the service center. That's all I've got, Judge.
All right, thank you. Item number 23, reports from just our auditor this morning.
All right, normally I give my report when the treasurer gives hers, but our investment reports were not ready at the time because of the new deadlines as far as getting information to the judge's office for the agenda. So I can still do my monthly report, just investment report. I may have to do it the second meeting. So on the summary sheet, you can see our total revenues for the general fund is, as of the end of August, is $26,834,184.41. And our expenses are $16,849,949.20. So we're going to finish the year with a surplus again, and that's phenomenal. Road and Bridge, their revenues are $13,819,432.04, and their expenses are $19,633,013.61, which they anticipate on using some of the reserves to fund the existing budget for the year. Our non-court bills equal $10,764,352.36. The GO portion was $8,965,954.28. Payroll was $1,012,059.10. Payroll taxes $729,737.13. Utilities $46,434.44, and all other bills were $10,167.41. Our investments at the end of August were $93,962,297.15. Well, as I said earlier, Judge, your department's heads are elected and appointed are good stewards of the taxpayer dollars. We wouldn't be finishing with the surplus if we weren't.
Okay, item number 2, any questions on Tom's report, discussion from the court? Hearing none, item number 24 is to discuss / acknowledge the personnel changes. This is all departments. Our new hires in EMS, we had 2, Coy Martin, the local boy, coming back, and Ms. Melissa Dewey in our EMS paramedic PRN and EMT PRN. Sharon Peters, we have a temporary part-time elections deputy clerk. Congratulations, Beth. Promotions, transfers, reassignments in the SO. We had one of our guys go to the school resource officer. Is that correct? Or went to? Okay. Had a couple of resignations / terminations in the sheriff's department, dispatcher, and jailer. No retirements. We are currently hiring for facility security officers. I think we got one more. We're doing an interview on Friday. I think that's right. Information technology support technician. The Karnes Wilson Juvenile Probation Department has hired some, so you're only going to hear 2 today. They are looking for an HHSC administrator. It's a part-time position, and a prevention specialist. Road and Bridge Department's looking for equipment operator 1, equipment operator 2, a maintenance tech 1, and the sheriff's office is looking for jailer, dispatcher, mental health officer / patrol deputy, and a couple of patrol deputies as well. Okay, item number 25, payment of bills.
All right, Court. So the bill total as presented last week was $2,050,331.64. Commissioner Beatrice did come to me yesterday. There was 3 bills that he wanted, and I didn't want to talk on your behalf, but there are 3 bills that he didn't feel that we should be paying, and they're coming out of contingency, which one was to National Recovery Agency for $257.10. Another one was Radiology Partners for $867.81. And another one was Managed Recovery Systems for $163.85. Commissioner, if you'd like to comment on those.
Court, the 3 bills that Tom is mentioning, when I looked at the bill list, I compared the date of service to the time in which the individual was in the care of the sheriff's department, and they did not match up. So I believe that they were billing errors on part of these other companies, and that these bills have just kind of slipped into the pile. I know a lot of them were very old bills that have been in a folder in a desk, and so I don't believe we are responsible because these people were not in our custody at the time.
A couple of questions on that, Commissioner. What was the amount of the radiology, 8,000 something?
The Radiology Partners was $867.81.
I am curious if these have to do with Sheriff and myself. Andrea met with the auditor, and there was a ton of old bills. I'm talking medical billing from 2017, 2018 that our new sheriff's administration found. And that amount, whenever the girls totaled that all up, was like $134,000. They worked extremely hard, the sheriff's office, to get that number down to 22?
Yes, sir.
Is that correct? 22 and change? From $135,000 of bills that were not that department's bills. Incredible job finding those. We had a great meeting with Tom and his crew. on getting some of that stuff taken care of, to not have these type of problems anymore. And I feel like these are probably 3 bills that slipped in the bill cycle. Maybe, I'm not putting y'all on the spot, but it sounds like that is potentially what could have happened with those 3 bills. And if they were, if that doesn't match up, I agree with Commissioner Beatrice that we shouldn't pay those.
And we got those all in there, Judge, that we discussed in our meeting. And then the road and bridge bills for this go-around is $1,718,980.50. And there was questions on some of the coding, and that's why I brought Josette, so we can be doing our entries at D, because once the report's printed, we can't change the numbers as presented in the, so Commissioner, if there's any changes in coding that, let us know, and I'll have Josette mark it down.
Judge, I had a question.
Yes, sir.
The Brandt companies had a radio tower repair in the amount of $2,803.82. That's on page 11 of the bills. The last court, we talked about the radio tower and the generators, and that billing had been charged to emergency management. I just wanted clarification. Is the entire radio tower going to be funded under emergency management now, or was it just the generators?
I believe we just did that for generators and then like emergency repairs. I mean, obviously without radios, our EMS, our sheriff's department, those emergency services that the county provides do not function. And we just had, Scott called me last week and said, hey, emergency AC went out again on tower, whatever. I don't remember what it was. So whenever something like that comes up, I feel confident that in order to keep the continuity of service to our taxpayers, that is easily specified and identified as an emergency management type of.
Okay. This bill for $2,800 was for air conditioning repairs?
I believe, is that what the air conditioning ended up costing? Scott,
So,
thank you.
It is currently coded to the sheriff's office. Should we have that changed to the emergency management board?
Do we have a specific line item in the sheriff's office budget? Off the top of my head, I can't think if we do, that provides AC for those. I don't think so. I think that we could code that all to emergency management. Okay. If we need to correct that.
Judge, I'm going to ask, you probably already addressed this, but I'm assuming that the reason this has come, the sheriff's office, I guess some of the old bills, some of them are last year and the year before, they're coming out of contingency because there's not the budget for the sheriff's office.
Say it again.
So the reason they're coming out of contingency is the contingency fund is because they're not in the sheriff's office budget.
They weren't even, sheriff is still for, what's today, the 23rd, so you got 7 more days of working on your predecessor's budget. So I don't know what the exact dates on all of those were, and I don't remember, and the girls and I didn't sit and go over. I mean, they had, I don't know how many folders like this of bills that were, again, back to starting 2017, 2018, even before I was here. So yes, I feel confident that, and Tom agreed that, hey, this isn't something that the sheriff saw. This is nothing that the court saw. We didn't even know that those bills, they were found in a filing cabinet tucked away somewhere. And so out of contingency, I feel like this is something that would qualify out of contingency.
And contingency, Commissioner, is basically for anything that's unforeseen that we weren't anticipating.
Judge, I have one last question or comment. On page 6, there was a bill from the Chapman firm for $1,119. It's labeled jail repairs from August 2015. And I know there's been communication with other individuals in the Chapman firm. I would just like to be kept in the loop if possible. I don't know who's talking to them, but
it's identified, and I can, Michelle can, actually you can probably pull them, but Michelle can pull them up really quick for you. Tom's office can pull them up really quick for you, and the Chapman firm is very good about
identifying who they talked to, when they talked to them, and how long they talked to them, and whether it was a phone call, an email. So I'm happy to provide that.
It's not so much who talked to them, it was just that what information have they provided so that, you know, they've been working with the county on the jail since before I took office, and I'd like to get better aware of what's actually going on with the jail.
Commissioner, it should be in the invoice itself. They're pretty good about detailing what they're billing us for, if I'm not mistaken.
The bill essentially says phone call, email, and then paperwork.
I can show you what little bit I have from the conversation. I mean, Commissioner Lissy was on it for a while. I don't believe he's given it to Commissioner Rosales now. And we're moving forward. We actually had a good little meeting about the ECS stuff yesterday, without getting into too much of the detail. But happy to sit down with you and tell you what I know.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I make the motion to pay the bills, leaving out the 3 items that Commissioner One spoke about. I don't know
The
exactly
total,
which ones
Commissioner,
are.
I'm sorry, is $2,049,042.88 with those 3 bills pulled.
Pulling those.
$2,049,042.88.
Okay. That's my motion.
I will second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Anybody opposed? None. Motion carries. Okay, real quick, court. Commissioner Court meeting for 10/28/2025. That will be the second meeting that we have in October. We have elections going on, and Beth and I talked about this prior to her even scheduling the elections in the annex. So we cannot use the annex. The courthouse is having a big trial here. We can move to the jail courthouse, and maybe there's a lot of public that haven't seen our jail courtroom. And so I'm happy to schedule our regular commissioners court meeting, that second meeting that we have in October, for the jail, if the court is yay with that. If not, then we will just have to move our date to the 24th, which would then be held here. And that's gonna be a week ahead. That's gonna put pressure on like pressure on, I'm seeing shake her head no. So, if y'all are good with that, then I'd like to move it to the jail and invite everybody to come see our jail.
Sure, we good? At the jail?
Yeah, we're good over there.
I'm fine, Judge.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, so, item number 26 is acknowledge our Commissioners Court will meet on October 14th, 2025 at 9 a.m. right here in our historic courtroom located at 101 North Penmarie Avenue, Suite 200, Karnes City, Texas 78118. And then that meeting, our acknowledgement will be that we will have it in the jail, but kind of give everybody a heads up, that's roughly a month out, that's where we're going to be meeting.
So that's going to be at the jail.
The meeting on the 14th is going to be here. Item number 27, we need a motion to adjourn and we can go to work.
I move we adjourn.